On the presentation, for those that don't know me, I'm Alex Silva. I'm the secretary of the Tesla Owners Group here in Columbus. Roy asked me to do a little presentation on battery care. So if you're new to Tesla ownership, hopefully you learned something today, but also if you've been with Tesla for a while, I hope there's something valuable here for you as well. So let's start off and talk about the Tesla battery itself. So instead of what you're probably used to in phones and laptops and things like that, you've got just a single battery inside of there. It's lithium ion, but with the car battery, you've got thousands of these little cylindrical cells that kind of split up into these different modules. And being lithium ion, they are going to slowly just lose capacity over time. That's just what happens with lithium ion batteries as you use them. But the good thing about Tesla batteries and a lot of the new EV batteries on the market is they have this battery management system. So unlike a laptop or a phone, they are designed to last a lot longer. They've got this battery management system that keeps the battery healthy, keeps it cooled, keeps it good to go for driving. So why do we need to care for the battery? What can happen if you are treating your battery poorly? So the main two things that happen are you have reduced total capacity, which means your range is going to drop, or you have reduced charging speed. So if you go to a supercharger and plug in, you might not see the full speed you're expecting there. So one thing to note is, even if you aren't taking care of your battery, this is Tesla's latest data from their 2020 impact report. So you can see on the left side, on the y-axis here, would be your total battery retention. So 100% meaning you have the complete rated range of when you bought the car, and then 0 would mean you've lost all of your available range. And then on the bottom is thousands of miles. So you can see even after 200,000 miles, you're still having around 85 to 90% of your total battery capacity, which I think is really good. So what actually causes this degradation or this kind of loss of capacity of the battery? There's three main things here, and the most important thing to note here is that lithium-ion batteries are actually happiest at 50%. So usually straying away from that 50% mark is what causes the battery to lose capacity. So extended periods at low states of charge, so if you're sitting at below 10% for a long time, that can cause a lot of issues. And if you have extended periods at above 90%, that can cause a lot of issues. As well as high charging rates. So if you are doing a lot of supercharging, that can also contribute. And the main thing there is the heat related with high charging rates. So that high heat can cause some degradation. So what can we do about this? If you are going to store your car long term, I know a lot of people in the group probably are driving their car a lot, so this isn't going to apply. But if you are somebody that has multiple cars and want to store their Tesla long term, set that charge limit to 50% and just keep the car plugged in. The app and the battery will do its thing there, and it'll stay at 50% and charge up to that if it needs to. And you definitely don't need to do this if you're just going to leave your car for a few days. It's really if you're going to be storing it like months at a time or multiple weeks at a time. What about avoiding low states of charge? This one is pretty easy because most of us naturally are going to go to plug in as soon as we get below 10%. So not a very difficult one here. And your car will warn you to plug in too. So if you are getting low on charge, it'll alert you, it'll let you know, hey, you need to plug in immediately. And I actually looked in the manual while I was researching this, and it actually said if you discharge all the way to 0%, you can actually cause long-term damage to the battery. So you definitely want to avoid that at all costs. I know me being an EV enthusiast, I like to push my car sometimes and get down really low, but probably not something you want to do very often. What about avoiding high states of charge? This one is pretty easy. You can either go in your touchscreen or in the app and just set your daily charge limit to 80 or 90%. That's what Tesla recommends. And that's going to give you kind of the most bang for your buck for everyday charging. So most of us probably aren't driving a ton every day, but having that extra buffer at 80 or 90 is a good way to set it. But if you are going on a trip, you might need that full 100%. So what do we do in those cases? Because we don't want to charge to 100% the night before we leave, have it sitting overnight for 8+ hours. We don't want that. So what you can do is actually schedule your vehicle to charge up to 100% right before you need it. So if you go in your touchscreen on the app, you'll see the daily and trip. So this kind of splits it up for you. The daily is 50 to 90%, and then for trips it's 90 to 100%. But if we want to charge to 100% right before we leave, we can go to our Tesla app. You can set the charge limit to 100%. And then if you look at the kind of top left, right below the battery percentage, you can see how long that's actually going to take for it to get to 100%. Then we can go into the schedule portion of the app, and you can set or you can enable scheduled charging to start. You kind of do the math backwards. So let's say if you want to leave at 8 a.m., it's going to take 12 hours to charge. You can set that scheduled charging to start at 8 p.m. so that you're reaching 100% right before you're scheduled to leave. And what about supercharging? I know we've got a lot of great supercharging locations in Ohio here. I frequent them a lot, and I used to use them all the time before I had home charging. But that's probably not best for the battery, so really you want to limit supercharging usage for when you're going on trips and you really do need that quick fill up, or you really do need to charge up fast on trips. But also be realistic too, it's a car. If you need to charge up fast, don't worry about hitting that supercharger for any battery issues. Like, definitely still use your car. There's one kind of final wrinkle here, and that is this LFP or lithium iron phosphate battery. So after August of 2021, Tesla started delivering these in the US, and I think they've rolled them out across all standard range vehicles now. And these are actually fine to charge up to 100% every day. So if you look in your touchscreen or in the app, instead of seeing that daily and trip designation there, you'll just see 50% and 100%. So you can actually set your daily charge limit all the way up to 100% if that's what you're seeing. So that's what it looks like in the app, and then if you go to the touchscreen, this is the best picture I could find. So you'll see just the 50 and 100% instead of the daily and trip. So quick summary: if you're below 10%, plug in. Try to avoid being above 90%. Limit charging to 100% unless you're going on a trip, and stick to level 2 charging if possible, out and about or at home. And remember, it's still a car, so don't worry too much about this. The car has that battery management system, like I said, so it's going to do a lot of this work for you. And to make it feel even better, there is a Tesla battery warranty. So Tesla actually guarantees that you're going to have 70% of your rated capacity after 8 years and over 100,000 miles, depending on which vehicle you have. So don't worry too much about this, and this battery is in place if you need it. So that's all, just a quick kind of battery care there.